All right, everybody. So now that we have gone through a demonstration and you've also practiced with your peers on how to ask for directions, give directions, and also ask for clarification on directions, well, now we're going to move on to an assignment that will be added to your final portfolio at the end of the year. So what you're going to do is create a map that shows how to get from one place in town to another place in town. So that could be anywhere. You could include from your house to the grocery store, maybe from the park to the school, anything that you would like. So what are some things that you could include on your map that would help you give directions and help people understand what you were saying? Any ideas? Street names. Yes, that's a very good one. That's very important. What else could you include? Yes, places in town. So places that people might find familiar, otherwise known as landmarks, right? What else could you include? Well, what might you not include on your map but you might say during your presentation? Can you think of anything? Yes, turn left, turn right. That's a very good one. Good job. Can you think of anything else? Do you remember the one that we discussed yesterday that we also included in our demonstration? It's 4 different ones. The first one's north, east, south, and west. Yes, good job, good job. Do you remember the mnemonic device that we talked about in order to remember this? Does anyone remember what a mnemonic device is? Yes, exactly, something to help you remember something. So a memory tool, right? To help you remember information, facts, things like that. And does anyone remember the one that we used? Never eat soggy waffles. Exactly. North, east, south, and west. Silly, but it's helpful, and sometimes the silly ones are the best because they help you remember. Good job. All right. So now I will show you an example of the map that I created that shows from my house to the amusement park. So, as you can see, I've included street names, different landmarks in town, and so different landmarks in town, everything like that. Just what everyone said earlier. So, good job on that. So, I'll give you an example, show you my presentation, and it'll help you kind of know what to expect for the presentations that you give tomorrow. So, when you start off at my house, go south to the town square with the big fountain. Once you get to the town square, continue onto Eisenhower Way. Once you get to Eisenhower, take a left onto Eisenhower Way and continue down. Then take a left onto Arapahoe Avenue. Then you will see the grocery store on your right. Right after you pass the grocery store, take a right onto Spirit Street. So once you, then you will reach a 4-way stop. Does everyone know what a 4-way stop is? A 4-way stop is when 4 different roads meet in one area. So right here. Then you will turn south onto Alfie Avenue. Continue down and you will see the park on your left, and continue down past that. Then you will take a right onto Amusement Way, and that will bring you to the entrance for the amusement park. If you reach Spear Boulevard, that means you've gone too far and you have to turn around. Any questions about that? Oh, yes, good question. This up here is called a compass rose. So we have our north, east, south, and west. It's very often included on maps to help give directions. Does everybody know what a compass is? Yes, they're included on our phones now. There's the older ones that explorers used to use all the time to help find out which direction they are going. And it's called a compass rose because explorers believed that the 4 different directional signs looked like petals on a flower. So that's how it got its name, compass rose. Good question. Any other questions about the presentation, or my presentation? No? Okay, so then we will move on to the next aspect of the presentation tomorrow. So, I want each person in the audience to ask 3 questions to different presenters tomorrow, asking for clarifications or for the presenter to repeat a part of the directions. So you could ask questions like, could you repeat or which way do you turn again on Arapahoe Avenue, you could ask them to rephrase something. So, for example, you could say, instead of going south onto Alfie Avenue, I could have said go right onto Alfie Avenue. So that's helpful to know how to say that because, say, if you forget what the difference is between west and east, they could say instead left or right. So that's an important one. Do we have any questions about that? Yes, so your participation tomorrow throughout the presentations will be included in your final participation grade at the end of the year. Good question. Any other questions? Yes, so good question. The map, I will not individually grade you on your presentation tomorrow for the map, but what I will do is make some comments, write down some notes to kind of give me an idea of maybe what we have to review again. That being said, the map will be included in your final portfolio at the end of the year, which will count towards your final grade for your final assessment. So, good question. Yes, so artistic ability, I know not all of us have great artistic ability, but just however you do it, just make it clear and understandable, okay? So don't be too nervous about that. You can do it however you would like. All right, do we have any other questions about that? All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to give you the remaining 20 minutes of class to start working on your map. I have some paper and some coloring markers that you can use, and then you can finish it as homework if you don't finish it today. Then tomorrow we will take the first 10 minutes of class to answer any remaining questions that you might have and also put some finishing touches on the map. So what I would suggest doing for your map now is just doing an outline of the map, and then that way you can ask me any questions that maybe things that don't make sense. That way you can continue your map for homework and you won't run into any problems. All right, do we have any questions before we get started?